everybody. This is Roy Doyle with www.arkansasshowcaseradio.org show, and we're bringing you another one of our fantastic interviews. And today we'll be bringing you the interview we did with Mr. Butch Stone, legendary promoter, and he's won all kinds of awards, got all these gold and platinum records, and he brought you such groups as Crocus and Black Oak, Arkansas, and he even brought the Eagles here in Arkansas. That's a feat in itself right there. The Eagles, damn it. And anyway, Mr. Butch Stone's coming up to you next. This is a production of www.arkansasshowcaseradio.org show. Enjoy, and we'll be back here in a second.
My name is Butch Stone, and I've been in the music business since about 1967. Started out as a manager for a band called Black Oak, Arkansas, that was the first band from the state of Arkansas to ever enter the music charts, national music charts. That didn't happen again until 27 years later when Evanescence made the national charts. So there's that for management. I went on to manage a band from Switzerland called Crocus. Got 42 gold and platinum records to my as a result of my work. And I also discovered and launched the careers of Cheap Trick and a number of other bands, and spent quite a few of my early years as a manager. In 1994, I left Hollywood and came back to Arkansas and decided I wanted to go into concert promotion. So I had helped the Eagles when they first started get on the road. They went out on the road with us. And their manager, named Irving Azoff, I called him and I said, Irving, I understand the band's getting back together. I'd like to have a stadium date in Little Rock. And he said, well, okay, you can have it. It's $1 million. And I said, well, I ain't got that much money, but hold on, I'll get right back at you. So I put the money together. I booked them for May 5th, 1995 at War Memorial Stadium. And we sold 42,000 tickets in 2 hours and 47 minutes. And it's the highest attended, highest grossing concert in the history of the state. And after that, brought about 400 of the greatest artists in the world to the amphitheater at the Clinton Library Complex. So I've been basically as a manager and then as concert promoter, it's another aspect of the business, and been doing it since about 67. That's my history. Now what do you want me to do?
That's beautiful. How artists start.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing. What I'm doing now is I'm consulting Arkansas artists. And, I've got 3 clients now that I'm working with. And what I'm doing is I'm teaching them what they have to know and what they have to do in order to have a career in this business. There's a saying, Arkansas's got some of the best music that nobody will ever hear, because most people don't understand the fundamentals of the entertainment business and what you've got to do, and that you've got to do it. It's not magic. You're not gonna get discovered playing a nightclub, and that don't happen anymore. So the principles are this, and I've got this down to some pretty simple terms. One is, it doesn't matter how good your fishing pole is if you don't get near the water. And what that means is, you have to find your audience. Before you can find an audience today, you've got to find people who can teach you how to find that audience. That's number one, and it's extremely important, because most labels today, in fact, I don't know any label today that has an artist development program. So you have to do this on your own, and you have to develop a substantial social media footprint in order for them to take you seriously. That's a very important thing. The other thing is I call it path of least resistance, that you have to stay focused. If you're an artist, a single artist, a singer-songwriter, or a band, or whatever, you have to stay focused on what you want to do, because it's not easy. It's never been easy, or everybody would be doing it. Now, let's go back in history a little bit. When I started with Black Oak, we were playing roller rinks around Arkansas. But I kept getting a Billboard magazine, which was a national trade magazine that we have in the industry. And I would see all kinds of different artists, 2 names. Ahmet Ertegun, the founder and creator of Atlantic Records, and Frank Barcelona, the creator and owner of Premier Talent and the creator of the concert industry in this country. Both of them legends, and literally to their names, artists everywhere from Rolling Stones to Aretha Franklin to Ray Charles to Led Zeppelin to Jimi Hendrix Pink Floyd, The Who, it was all Ahmet and Frank. So it didn't take me long to realize that those were the two people that I needed to get next to. Okay, I was in Arkansas, didn't have 2 dimes to rub together, but I realized this is what I had to do. So I went and did it. I went to California with the band, and we started playing called Love Ends back in those days, and we played to 30,000 people on the field. And eventually, the people at Atlantic heard about it, and so Ahmet Ertegun came to LA to see Black Oak play at a nightclub. Liked the band. We went outside in his Rolls Royce and shook hands on a record deal that lasted 9 years. Ahmet set me up with a meeting in New York with Frank Barcelona. And I owe Frank, I don't even have the vocabulary. Frank became godfather to me, godfather to one of my daughters. Without a doubt, the most powerful man in the business at that point in time, a real legend. And I mean, I'll tell you some stories about Frank, but a real legend. So what happened was, within a month or 2 of the first Black Oak album coming out, we did 40 dates with Led Zeppelin. Then we went to The Who, and then Grand Funk Railroad, and on and on and on. Within a year, we found our audience. We did it by hard work, being on the road, playing 300 shows a year, and we found our audience. And that's how that worked back then. There's still a value to that, but it's not as easy to get there as it was back in those days. It wasn't even easy back then. It wasn't easy getting to New York and LA, but we made that happen.
So how would someone be able to do that now? I mean,
now it's another world now. When I use the comment about it doesn't matter how good your fishing pole is if you don't get near the water. It's not only about finding your audience. That's in some ways it's been made easier with the internet. Okay, and that's where you got to do it. You have to literally create a social media footprint to the number of 500,000 views or friends or whatever the outlet is to get yourself noticed by these people. That's where people who know how to use the internet properly, how to friend other artists so that they'll refriend you and it spreads out. There's a lot of ways to do that, but you've got to do it. The worst thing you can do today is have a video on YouTube that doesn't have a substantial number, because as soon as the label sees that, to them that's a failure. So that don't work. So that's not very easy. Look, God only knows why Justin Bieber broke off that little video that he had. Who the hell knows why that happened, okay? There's a lot of luck involved in it now, and I use the word luck because I don't know how to explain that, how that happened, but that's how that happened.
Well, I was going to ask, I mean, if you're going to put a video on YouTube, do you want to polish it to make sure it's a fantastic performance that you're putting out there, or do you just want to put as many?
No, it ain't about number. It's good, don't work no more.
Right.
It's got to be great now. Record labels now, when you submit songs to them, they have to be finished recordings. These people, first thing, they got the attention span of a housefly, number one. 2, they really don't know how to do it. They're good at marketing and distribution and promotion. But guys like Ahmet and Clive Davis and David Geffen, those guys are gone now. It's another kind of person running those companies. So you really got to do that on your own, and that's extremely important. And going back to counseling these artists, that's what I'm teaching them, is that's how you get near the water. You have to find somebody like me that knows these people, that can tell you what you need to do and how to do it, and then help you stay focused and do that. Path of Least Resistance is about staying focused. It's about, if you're a band, you're going to be making some radical decisions if you're going to go from that world to my world. And some of those decisions aren't easy, but you have to stay focused. And if you're a band, it's got to always come back to what's the best for the band. This is why I encourage these young artists to watch the Eagles, history of the Eagles, that I think Showtime or one of the HBO, one of the two has out there now. It is brilliant, and it's they're not glossing anything. It is what it is, but they stayed focused. What's best for the band. If you're a single artist, it's a little bit different. A lot different. Now, you got less personalities.
If you're a band, is there something that you should focus on? Is it the vocals? Is it the musical aptitude, or is it showmanship, or a little bit of both?
All right, let's talk about that. I'll use this band that I'm working with now. First thing, it all gets back to the songs. you have got to have great songs, period. All right. A rock and roll band today is not an easy thing to break because it's not what's hot today. Okay. Last time that happened came out of Seattle. Eddie Vedder and Nirvana and that whole West Coast, wherever all that came from. Those guys brought rock and roll back. But if you go back to that, why did it bring it back? One of the most important things is you have to have great songs, but then you have to have a sound that's your sound. When you hear Pearl Jam and Nirvana, you don't have to ask who that is. You know who that band is. It's going back to Bob Dylan. You listen to a Bob Dylan record, you didn't wonder if that was Aretha Franklin. You knew it was Bob Dylan. So you have to develop a body of work, songs, great songs, not good songs, great songs. And you have to develop a sound, okay? This band I'm working with now has a lead singer who has a very strong and unique voice. So they're way far down the road. That's number one. Number two, they listen to me. I mean, I'm like E.F. Hutton, man. When I talk, it's like they listen, and that helps a lot. They're taking the information. The other thing is, information is power if it's used correctly. And you know, I can tell somebody what they have to do and what they need to do and how they need to, you know, change in order to get to where they want to get to. But if they don't listen and react to it, it doesn't mean anything. They have to take it to heart. And this particular band does. And I just started working with them about a month ago.
Okay, so if you're not in a band, you're a solo artist. I mean, I'm just going to ask bluntly, does looks matter?
Looks matter, yeah. We live in a visual world now. I mean, and look, there's the exceptions to that. Adele, okay? Adele's not the most beautiful woman out there. She was a little overweight when she started, but the girl's got soul, man. See, she brought something back to music. I call it soul. It's not just the same old monotonous drum machine bullshit. It has soul to it. And so if you've got that can get you past Aretha Franklin ain't good looking, okay? If you know what I mean. So yeah, it can work. But now generally you have to really look like a star. You have to look success builds success. You have to look like you're successful, and you have to believe in yourself. You know, and it's easier with a solo artist. I mean, bands are a piece of work, man. It's usually the bass player that screws everything up. Least important person in the band, excuse me, but that's the truth. That will mess it up. So that's why you have to stay focused.
So what would you recommend, like an age bracket? I mean, would you suggest someone that's 12, 13 years old starting to form a band, or does it matter? Well,
here's like one of the other artists I have is a girl named Izzy Perry. She's 15. She's remarkable. But this girl's remarkable. She's an amazing voice. Just kicks her shoes off, gets in there. You can show her a song one time, and she will nail it immediately. She's got that. She's got it. She's got that talent. And an artist like that, you don't create that. They're born. They're just. I mean, she's 15 and she's already got it. So, that's a lot of fun to deal with because I'm going to go to Disney first, and then a few other labels with her. And with the band, it's just another, because you're dealing with more personalities, there's a lot more work to be done because you've got to basically get everybody on the same page. And it sounds easy, but it's not.
Now, you were talking about, doing 40 dates, when you're touring with some of these groups. I mean, is that still something that people should expect to do?
Well, that's a great question. Look, those days, now to open a show, you have to either really know somebody, like the manager of the headliner, because you don't mean anything. You're not selling tickets. There's really nobody out there like Frank Barcelona anymore that has that kind of power. Now we've got Live Nation Concerts, AEG. They're the two monsters, okay? But before they're going to put you on a tour, they'll do it if your record is blowing up and they know that's going to mean ticket sale, or if the headliner comes to them with a package. But I still believe in that because so much of the music today doesn't last anymore. It's like the flavor of the week because of the way they develop their audience. I don't think there's any substitute for getting on the road at some point and paying your dues, doing 200 or 300 shows, and getting out in this, and not only this country but the world. Get out there and let people discover you. There's something about that gives longevity to a career. It's magic.
So how do you do that? So if someone says, I'm just going to go hit the road and pay my dues? They just call up the bars all within.
Well, it ain't about bars. I mean, you can play bars till the second coming of Christ, and that ain't really gonna get you where you need to go. It gets back to one of the biggest concert promotion companies. You have to get next to those people. They control the industry. I mean, those two companies control probably 95% of every concert that goes out, and all the big concerts. These are the guys that do Roger Waters and McCartney and people like that, Adele and people like that. So either you get next to them, or you get next to the manager of the headliner, who's going to either manage you and bring you up, that way.
So if someone hasn't met you yet and you're not working with them, does it matter if you stay in Arkansas? Do you need to move to Nashville or California?
Well, that's a great question too. Look, the second part of what I do with these artists, it's not just about giving them the information, it's about getting them ready for the experience, because that's the other thing. That's the other aspect of this. This business is very competitive, and you have to prepare people for the experience. If you don't, it can get really ugly really fast, because you spend a year on the road, you got 40, 50,000 people a night cheering you, and if you're not well anchored, it can alter your personality in a way that's not creative and not good, and doesn't lend itself to longevity and a career. So I spend as much time trying to educate them about that aspect of it as anything else. In terms of moving to Nashville, you go eat dinner at any restaurant in Nashville, and 9 out of 10 waiters or waitresses came to Nashville with a guitar and a song, thinking that they were going to get discovered and be the next Keith Urban. That ain't how it works anymore. It's not like that anymore.
So, I mean, if you are in a rural part of Arkansas, let's say you don't even have money, to get a van and tour around. I mean, how is that a hindrance to you?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you overcome it?
Well, that's hard to overcome, because in this business you get what you pay for, and really one of the biggest obstacles. Let me put it this way: people who try to have a career, one of the main reasons they fail is they're underfunded. They don't have the money to do what they need to do. And it's like going back to my situation, I had to raise money to get the band to LA. We got the money together, jumped in a van and went out there and just started playing and everything. And so you gotta have some financial backing in order to do these things. Nowadays, because of the internet, in a perfect world, there are companies out there that will help you build a base. They know how to spread what you do, and they're not cheap, but they're worth every dime of it.
Okay, so take I guess the next step. I mean, besides just yourself, should you surround yourself with like a team? I mean, do you need to get a lawyer, someone like you?
You need, first thing you need is a great manager, and that is the most important relationship an artist is ever going to have. A manager's got to be somebody with experience, knowledge, relationships, but also somebody that can tell you the truth and not have to worry about pissing you off and getting fired. That's what happened to Elvis. That's what happened to Michael Jackson. They surrounded themselves with yes people who were more concerned about getting their paycheck than they were telling those people, look, you're screwing up, stop this, or there's this problem, we have to fix it. That's a unique and special relationship, and if you find it, nothing should come between that, because the day that happens, your career is over. You may not know it yet, but your career is over. You need a great lawyer, and not just your daddy's lawyer down the street. You need a music attorney, and there aren't really any in Arkansas anymore. There's one firm in Arkansas, up in Fayetteville, that would qualify for this, but generally they're in LA and New York, and you need that. And then ultimately, as you start making money, you need a good, what we call a business manager, a CPA, somebody that can keep the government off your back and make sure you're paying taxes, make sure you're getting all. Another thing about the music business is so great, you can write off everything, literally everything you do. So you got to have a good team like that. And then, if you want to be real good about it, you get a public relations firm, somebody that's going to keep you out in front of people, no matter what that is, create whatever it takes. Any publicity is good publicity in the music business. You just got to have somebody that does that for a living. Then you got a good team there if you can do that. And then a road manager, and the rest of the things that go, your crew and bus drivers. It's an interesting situation.
So where would someone even be able to find a manager? I mean, where do you start
Well,
looking?
you know, it's interesting. That's an interesting question too. Really, we have a trade paper now, a magazine called Polestar. That every year Polestar puts out a special book that lists all the managers, or all the agents, or all the record label people who tend to change a lot. So you can get that information from them and know who they are. Getting next to those people, that's the trick. That's where it gets a little complicated.
So is it all internet now? I mean, do people need to cut a demo CD? Do they need to put out a CD? I mean, or
it's all about the fastest way now to create an audience is with the internet. That's it. And again, it goes back to who the hell knows when something goes viral or why that happens, and nobody really knows why that happens. I'm not a Justin Bieber fan, but he blew up that way. Drake broke that way on the internet, and if you can do that, if you're technically savvy and you spend the time doing it, that would be the best thing you could do with your music. But you don't put crap out there. It's got to be good.
Now you're talking about being underfunded. Do you know of any kind of financial grants or assistance that people can apply for?
You should look into GoFundMe and Indiegogo. Okay, I had a client who I recently dropped because she's an alcoholic. But anyway, she raised $50,000 on Indiegogo, and you can do that. And there are people out there with discretionary income that want to help people. You don't have to pay it back if you fail. If you can do things like send them a free copy of your CD, keep them informed. It's kind of like a fan club that pays you to be a fan is what it does. But those are two good ones right there. And that young artists would be wise to put some time into learning how that works, how to motivate those people, because that's a great source of funding.
Man, I know there's no way that you can give an actual percentage, but I mean, the people that want to become superstars, I mean, it's far and few between the people that actually make it.
Oh yeah, we have less people every year making it, but the ones that do make it on a biblical scale now. The money now is ridiculous. It's 100 times what it used to be.
I was about to say, you probably don't have very many people making $50,000 a year. It's probably either nothing or
you can't even live on that.
Yeah. So.
I mean, Justin Bieber. My understanding is when that CD broke, Live Nation gave him $50 million up front and bought his tour, and the record label gave him another 50. So he had $100 million before he was out of puberty. And that's how the money is today.
I got $5 in my pocket.
Now, if you had to say one thing to these new artists, that only one thing that you could tell them for their future to make it, what would it be?
Okay. I would say that if you don't love the music and you're not completely committed to a career, go to work at Walmart.
Thank you, Butch.
That's what I would do. All right.
Now, I'm not done with you yet, but underage, I guess it'd be 18. If you're an artist under the age of 18, I mean, where do the parents get involved?
That's a great question. Izzy's 15, and because she's a minor, her parents have to. She can't even sign a contract. Now, they could have her emancipated, which they're not willing to do, which would put her in a situation where legally she could sign her own documents. I don't think that's a good idea for her at this point because she's 15. Her parents are very supportive of Izzy. And they listen. They listen to what I say. They've done everything they said they're going to do. And when it comes time to signing with me, which they've already signed the consultation agreement, they signed it, not her. They will sign a record deal, not her. They'll sign everything other than performance contracts, because at that point in time I'll get attorney a power of attorney, and I can sign those on her behalf. But they have to really be involved with everything. And I don't know if you remember the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? There were these three little girls, I can't remember their names, they were accused of bug. But the attorneys in Nashville passed laws because of those three girls that require a big percentage of what they earn goes into a trust account until they become adults, so that parents or managers or them can't go and blow it, you know. So that's a good thing. They get what they need to live, they get what they need to have a career, but it assures them that when they get 18 years old, they're going to have something to show for the work that they've done.
Now, of course, not everybody can be incredible singers and stage performers, but there's also other avenues like songwriting and all that that people could actually dabble with. Right?
Well, most of those big homes in Nashville are owned by songwriters. That's what it always gets back to the song, man. It doesn't matter, it always gets back to the song. Period. If you don't have the great songs, you're not really going to make that much. Even if you don't, I don't like Justin Bieber, but for what he does, it's good.
Now, how would you be able to promote a song? Would you just have to find somebody that could perform it and then put?
Well, that's another great question. I have a songwriter that I'm working with, and he's written probably 100 songs now that I've got. And what I'll do is, when I go to Nashville next time, I'm going to meet with publishers and try to get him a publishing deal. Let's talk about that a minute. Artists make money off if they have a record deal, they make an artist royalty, which is a percentage of the retail price of the CD. There's a thing called mechanical royalty, which is mandated by Congress. It's called the statutory mechanical rate. And it provides X number of cents per song to be paid to the writer and the publisher. So if you don't sell your publishing, you own both, and so you get 100% of the mechanical royalty. I think it's 9 cents a side song right now. So if it's 10 songs on a CD, that's 90, almost $1 a CD that you get paid. If you make a publishing deal, you can sometimes do a 50% publishing deal where you retain 75% of the mechanical, they get 25% of the mechanical, and they give you an advance. But then what they also do is particularly if you write a lot of songs in different genres, they'll take your songs to other artists they represent and record labels and get them to record the song. A song like "Blowing in the Wind" by Bob Dylan, there's no telling how much money that one song generated. Hundreds of millions of dollars. The Beatles catalog, hundreds of millions of dollars for writers, for those guys that wrote those songs.
Now, would you be able to help, these aspiring songwriters as well? Be able to, kind of give them some guidance?
Well, I have one client that's all he does. He's a songwriter. Cool. Yeah. And it's the information's about the same. It's doesn't matter how good your fishing pole is if you don't get near the water. You got to find your audience. You got to get access. Access is power. Information, if used properly, is power. You got to know who the players are, where they are, who their friends are. What you can do to endear yourself to them, and how you get next to them. Because they're not going to come to you. It don't happen anymore. You have to figure it out. If you don't know, you don't know.
That's it.
I think we're good.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, sir.
Right.
Hey everybody, this is Roy Doyle again. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Mr. Butch Stone. What a guy. Love that guy. And we hope you enjoy these interviews as much as we do making them. But we'll be having some more interviews coming to you, courtesy of www.arkansasshowcaseradio.org show. And I think the next one is with Grand Funk Railroad. We got one with Grand Funk Railroad and Foghat. That should be good. So, and just enjoy them. We're get more and more interviews coming up, and we hope you enjoy them all. So anyway, that's it. And tune in for www.arkansasshowcaseradio.org show. Bye-bye. Hope you enjoy. See you later.